In this episode, I am going to get my newly acquired D200 pickup truck up and running with the motor from that RV. Stick around. Alright guys, so I ended up picking up this D200 pickup truck, and the motor on it was seized. It wouldn't want to spin over initially when I, by hand, we drowned it with ATF. Finally, we were able to get the cylinders brake free, and in turn, it just wouldn't get compression, won't turn over, won't start, and it needs to be rebuilt. It is a 383 truck. Unfortunately, it just wasn't there. So, I was able to score this RV for 1,800 bucks. Now, the nice part about this RV is it comes with a 440. So now I'm just gonna have to try to get the 440 that was in there into this. To give you guys even more breakdown, last night, once we got delivery of it, we ended up spending the entire night, or I say at least a good couple hours, trying to get the 440 out of it. And it was not wanting to play nice. Luckily we had a forklift and a bunch of stuff, and we were able to finally kind of finesse it out. And now it's sitting in the bed of the truck. So it's right here. It actually came with MSD ignition box, so it has that running. It's a running and driving. I mean, they drove it over here for the 440, so it's good luck on that. I'm gonna have to do some modifications because my truck is not an automatic, so in turn we're gonna have to do some finessing to try to get the transmission to mate up to this 440, but we will make it happen, or break it trying. But other than that, we went through, or I should say I did. I showed up this morning to the shop, and the shop owner already went through and pulled out some of the other things that I can be using either on this truck to try if I need to relay or do anything with that, or also the 70 Charger, which is in the bay behind me. So yeah, we're just going to start trying to break down the 440 as best as we can here, and then from there start trying to get the old motor out, the 383 out, and this one in. So let's see what we can do.
You guys say, I mean, I fucking totally get it. But if I had... Hey Mike, are you...
Alright, so this is where I'm at with this D200 project. It's been hit or miss on whether or not I've had my camera with me when we're actually working on it. So I'm going to try to give you guys as much updates as I can. The footage I do have is probably pretty poor because we were shooting it at night and I know it's extremely dark when it hits the camera. But I have the 440 from the motorhome sitting on a, I guess, engine stand, or actually the cherry picker right now. I'm trying to find out what lines up, what doesn't, based off of trying to get it to fit inside of the truck. So as of right now, the truck has nothing in it. We actually ended up gutting it out. We've pulled apart everything on the inside of the truck to get it to being sitting out. The easiest way we found was pulling the actual transmission tunnel itself for the access panel. We have some of the RV parts that are currently still inside of the truck that we need if we need to swap over anything over, and in turn the engine bay is empty. Now, the original motor that I have that came with it, the 383, we have sitting in the other bay. So that is back over here. If you take a look, that is going to be sitting over here, pretty much not used. We're trying to use it to relay certain parts off of this to see what fits and what doesn't onto the 440, if there's stuff that maybe this has better condition or that, or so on and so forth. So that's where we're at right now. So as of how I'm going to try to progress forward, and I will try to be more vigilant on getting this taped, is I need to attach the belt housing onto the rear because we're having an issue with hooking up the 4-speed transmission that is over here actually. The 4-speed transmission that is right here. Hello light, can you work? Can you work? Okay, so you can kind of see it there. And yeah, so we have a 4-speed transmission that came with the truck and I want to try to mate back into it. Alright, light, there it is. Alright, so the problem that we're going to have though is at the back. Let me see if I can get a light here. Alright, so here is the transmission. As best as I can show it, at least. It's pretty gunked up. However, I'm going to run into one big issue, and that is this part right here. So problem I'm going to run into is that spline, or the spline that's sticking out towards the front, is actually not going to fit all the way into here. This is not a crank that was originally designed for a 4-speed transmission, and because Dodge wanted to be difficult, I guess, they did not pre-drill all of these to fit that long of a spline. So I'm going to have to cut roughly 3/4 of an inch to an inch off of it and then run a different pilot bearing, which online there's a couple people that are saying different ones, and I will try to find out which one fits on that motor. That is all varnish, not rust, varnish. So it's equally as bad inside the tank, so I'm going to have a company go through and it completely like dip the tank. You cannot find fuel tanks for these trucks anymore. Most people run new ones that are behind the rear axle or whatever it be. I want to try to just get this thing running, so I'm going to reuse the original. I'll seal it, and I shouldn't have any issues with fumes inside the tank going into the cab. But other than that, got to get this going. So let's try it. switch over my water pump to a different style, and specifically because I'm running the radiator off the 383, which, although is a little bit smaller, it's gonna work better than just a typical off-the-shelf Auto Parts one. I need to change over the water pump housing. Now, the water pump housing is being needing to be switched because I have the dump on the passenger side. I need to have it go on the driver's side. So the 383 that came with this has it on the driver's side, so I can pull this one off once I actually get it inside the car. But I want to make sure I get all the gaskets, and I want to make sure it actually is good. I had a spare 441 that came with my Charger project. However, it was pretty rough. A lot of the edges were completely just gouged out and eaten away, and it's not worth trying to save it for that. But I think my other one should work. So let's go take a look. Battery died. Got it off. Just so you know, there's one bolt right here behind the heater hose, and it's a pain. You gotta use a wrench. Gone. One new master cylinder put in. 2 bolts. Undo the lines. New one goes on. Ignore my dipstick. Still got the RV dipstick in, but 2 lines come off. Master cylinder comes out. New one goes in. It's pretty simple. Fill it. Then I had shop owner help me. He was undoing the lines, and I'm just working the pedal, press down, open, and yeah, leave the air out. So now it's time to, as long as I have brakes, the big question is, does it stop? And a normal person would say, let me try to move the truck, just push on it. Nah, I'm gonna make sure it actually runs. Probably shouldn't, but we're gonna try it. This is the part where the shop owner talks a lot of trash, because I have a Ford as my daily driver. Now he has a Chevy, and now his Chevy is going to pull my Dodge on a trailer down to the exhaust shop because, well, I don't have a ball hitch that fits his trailer on the back of my Ford. So now you're going to hear all about how Chevys are pulling Dodges and how Fords can't do it. Truck is dropped off and down at the muffler shop. We're gonna do Flowmaster 40s on it, I think. See how it turns out. It should be done. The guy said by tomorrow, so yeah. The joys of YouTube editing. Next time you see it, it's gonna be tomorrow. And yeah, it's only a couple $100. I figured I'd have a shop do it rather than me trying to figure out how to do the welds and the bends and have it look like garbage. So yeah, it's worth it, and I don't have to worry about it. So, see you tomorrow. All right, back to the exhaust shop. Just picked it up. It's kind of windy right now. Let me crack a Mountain Dew here. All right. So, I'll put the truck here. Show you how it looks. Overall, looks pretty good, sounds pretty good. It's a little bit quieter than I wanted, but manageable. So I'm not gonna complain too much. I'd rather have it be a little bit too quiet, because I can always do a couple things, add some cutouts, whatever I want to make it louder. And since it is a daily, I'm all right with that. Anyway, I'm gonna start changing out some lights on it, get some coolant, get this thing so I can get it state certified. Get driving it. See if she starts. Man, it's dark in here. All right. Come on, money. All right. Brakes work. All right. Didn't make that one. Got that one. All right, so I unofficially took out the truck to Mexico to drive it on the street without registering it in Mexico. And wanted to see how it was, so I trailered it to Mexico and then did it in Mexico. So did a couple heavy brakes on it though, just to see how it was going to work, and instantly that the truck just pulls hard to the right hand side, which means either my right brake is doing too much or my left brake ain't doing nothing. So I'm in the process right now. I'm gonna change over the left front drum. I'm gonna replace the wheel cylinder and try to clean it up. Maybe I'm thinking it's not grabbing at all, and go from there. But yeah, it's not hard to break it down. I think I'll post a link underneath of one of the many YouTube videos. It's pretty helpful because I'm not going to be able to explain it all as well as they do. But I'll at least show you kind of breaking it down and maybe reassemble it. Go from there. So one thing I would recommend is when you're going to replace this kind of stuff, do one wheel at a time. That way you have a reference on the other side in case you ever want to know how it goes back together. Alright guys, that's going to pretty much end it for this one. So we got the 440 swapped, got the clutch put in, lights, wipers, pretty much all electrical, short of maybe a few little things here and there. The clutch is done, both front drums have been rebuilt for the most part on everything we're needing. I think we have pretty much everything we need to get this thing through inspection tomorrow. So with inspection, then comes registration, and yeah, this will be the daily driver. But other than that, stick around. I got more plans coming for the 70 Charger. I got parts in the way for that. I'll continue to do some other additional work on this as well. And then, yeah, if you guys like what you guys are kind of seeing, if you guys want me to really include more in-depth stuff on what I'm working on, just post a comment below. Or if you guys are wanting me to, I guess, further explain specifically the drum brakes or what we did for the clutch or anything like that, let me know and I'll try to put out a video on that as best as I can. Probably bounce a lot of knowledge off the shop owner since he knows a lot more than I do. But other than that, yeah, hit like, hit subscribe, and keep building.